A Step into the Past Volume 20 Chapter 12. Book 20 Chapter 12 False Alarm. After having a confirmed plan of action, Xiang Xiaolong and the rest changed their training methods and split the army into two groups. 20,000 cavalry were specially trained in undercover and camouflage warfare. Xiang Xiaolong used what he has learned in the 21st century on this group of cavalry. In a twinkling of an eye, winter is ending and spring is approaching. Xiao Pan came to send off the troops personally in a ceremony, and Xiang Xiaolong left for another military expedition once again. The army traveled in ships downstream, landing at Wuzui and walked towards the northeast straight towards Suanxi city where Guanzongzi is it. Guanzongzi, Lian Jiao, Zhao Pu led their army out of the city to welcome them. Of course they appeared extremely polite on the surface, giving them the respect due to a superior. Xiang Xiaolong asked Wu Guo, Jing Jun, and the rest to set up camp outside the city, and in order not to incur Guanzongzi's suspicions, he only led Teng Yi and 1,000 personal guards into the city. Only after they reached the commander's residence did they take out Xiao Pan's imperial edict to order Guanzongzi to hand over his military token immediately and to return to the capital to continue his duties. After Guanzongzi read the imperial edict, his countenance changed. What's the meaning of this? Why are there no orders from Premier Lu? And the Dowager's imperial seal is missing from this edict. Xiang Xiaolong pretended to be surprised and commented, "Why is General Guan so nervous? His Highness is just being concerned that Lord Guan has been working so hard and stationed outside the pass for the whole year, that's why he's allowing General Guan to return to Xianyang for a short holiday. It's just a simple matter of changing of guards. Is there a need to trouble Lord Lu and the Dowager on this?" At this time Teng Yi saw Lian Jiao moving backwards and hurriedly gave out a command. Their accompanying personal guards immediately took out their crossbows and took control of the situation. There's no way Guanzongzi will expect Xiang Xiaolong to have such a move. He saw him smiling icily with his hand on the sheath of 100 battles blade and knows that one wrong word would mean immediate decapitation. He raised his hand to stop his men from making senseless retaliation, and his countenance changed to a pleasant smile as he said, "Great General has reprimanded me well. In fact, I was really hoping to go back and see Niang Rong too." Xiang Xiaolong replied with a smile, "We cannot go against a ruler's orders, I am just following instructions. It's great that General Guan is willing to cooperate. He's not worried that Guanzongzi will disobey, unless he wants to rebel immediately. Otherwise this is the only outcome available." The next day, Xiang Xiaolong, on the pretext of sending them off, ordered Jing Jun to ensure that Guanzongzi and his 2,000 personal guards were escorted to Wuzui and to make sure that they board the ship before he returns to Suanxi. By this time Xiang Xiaolong has completed the redeployment of Guan's army and the cavalry was increased to 50,000 men. The light infantry had 50,000 men and the heavy artillery forces had 80,000 men, and their strength was immediately boosted. They trained for another month in Suanxi before they left Suanxi and traveled along the river up north towards Changzhou city. They traveled slowly but steadily, making sure that the soldiers get ample rest and maintain their energy at a full level. When they reached the southern bank of the river Lu, the 180,000 strong army stopped and waited for night to fall. Huan Qi hurried over on hearing the news, and when they met, everyone was filled with both sadness and happiness as they told one another what happened while they were apart. He left with Xiang Xiaolong, Teng Yi, Huan Qi, Zhou Liang, Wu Guo, Zhao Dai, and the rest to the commander's residence to hold a meeting. Huan Qi first reported the situation at Tunliu and analyzed. Inside Tunliu, there are only about 1,000 odd men who are old subordinates of Du Bai and Chongqiao. The rest are Pu whose family warriors and local rebels who were from Zhao. The situation is a little similar to the peasants' rebellion which happened a few years ago in the east. They are full of valor but no actual capability. But the biggest problem is Li Mu's 100,000 strong Zhao army stationed at Lu city within the Zhao border 40 miles of Tunliu. They can respond immediately if called for, and not only are they a source of support for Tunliu, we also dare not attack Tunliu without reservations. When he spoke of Li Mu, his expression revealed an underlying fear. Teng Yi signed and asked, "How did you lose that battle?" Huan Qi replied painfully, the way Li Mu fights a battle is like performing a magic trick. Great General and I were already keeping a real close eye on the movements within the Zhao border and planted our scouts far and wide. We did not expect that just after we received the alarm, Li Mu's cavalry has already reached our camp and it was a bright and starry night. Li Mu ordered his men to take over the highlands first and burn the camp with fire arrows. The Tunliu rebel forces took the opportunity to charge out as well, drumming the signal for attack. We could not even last until dawn and were utterly defeated. I led a group of 10,000 men and tried out best to fend off the pursuers, otherwise the number of our casualties will be even higher. On hearing that, everyone felt a cold chill. Huan Qi continued agitatedly, after Great General Wang passed away, I led our very demoralized troops to attack Lu city twice but we were forced back by Li Mu. His strategies are ever changing, his soldiers brave and their training excellent. No wonder his fame can spread so far and wide. Jing Jun commented, it doesn't matter how formidable Li Mu is, it's no use if there's an excellent general but no good ruler. Have Xiao Qi sent anyone to check the situation over at Zhongmu? Huan Qi's spirit was lifted as he took out a rolled-up map and opened it on the table, saying, I took advantage of the heavy snow to order my men to scout on the enemy's situation so I'm sure the enemy knows nothing at all. Zhongmu is the Zhao's most important military base outside of Chong City and it originally belonged to the Weiss. It only landed in Zhao hands 4 years ago, so that they have another vital point outside out Chong City, that's why it's very heavily regarded. After everyone had some discussion, he continued, there are 2 groups of Zhao army permanently stationed outside the city, about 10,000 men or so at the north and south to cover each other. Their initial use should be to deal with the Weiss. Inside the city there are about 20,000 men guarding it and for a city of Zhao, such numbers are very rare. If anything happens, the soldiers inside the city can come out to provide reinforcements. That's why in the many attempts by the Weiss to attack the Zhaos, they have been unable to take over Zhongmu, this important city. Xiang Xiaolong said, that's why we must surprise them in this battle and take them unawares. Otherwise this battle will be a certain defeat. Huan Qi said, the Zhaos have built 100-odd beacon stations on higher grounds outside the city and there are sentries there day and night. If a huge army were to advance, they will find out even if it's at night. It's very difficult to go under their radar. Jing Jun tapped his chest and assured them, let me be in charge of this. I guarantee that not a single one of those beacons will be able to sound any alarm. Xiang Xiaolong said, tonight, our 40,000 strong elite cavalry will be split into 4 teams and set off in batches after dark. Jing Jun will lead 10,000 as vanguards to clear the beacons. The other 140,000 men will stay here for 3 more days before they are split up into 2 teams of 70,000 men each with 1 team going towards Changzi and the other towards Zhongmu. The day that Li Mu returns to the capital will be the time that Xiao Qi strikes. Remember to make it look as if it's going to be a drawn-out battle, you must not take the risk to attack the city otherwise Li Mu will advance even though he may look like he's retreating and a replay of the battle that night will happen. Then this loss will be totally not worth it. Huan Qi was taken aback as he replied, no wonder both the previous great generals were so full of praise for Great General Xiang before their deaths. I have not thought of this point at all and when you mentioned it, the thought of it made me break out into a cold sweat immediately. Wu Guo said with a smile, it's time to eat. Everyone were laughing and jibing one another. As they left the tent, Xiang Xiaolong said to Huan Qi, after you take over Tunliu, immediately start works on repairing and building up defenses. We will pretend to be defeated by Chong City, situated on the border separating Zhao and Wei before suddenly retreating so that the Zhaos will find it difficult to pursue us. Huan Qi was high-spirited and totally impressed as he nodded his head. That night, once it's dark, Zhou Yang released Eagle King. After making sure that there are no hidden enemy scouts, Jing Jun's team consisting of the Wu family's elite warriors set off first and in a short while, the 4 teams of men set off one after another, traveling slowly on horseback. By the morning of the 3rd day, the army have reached the dense forest 40 miles away from Zhongmu and set up sentries around them. They waited for night to fall. Zhongmu city is situated in the middle of the plain, with high and thick city walls. It's indeed a tough and important stronghold for the military. The trees outside the city were cut down, so it's really not easy to approach without being seen. Xiang Xiaolong and Teng Yi observed the area for a long time and they both felt discouraged, but couldn't think of any good ideas at all. All of them dare not start fires for cooking, so they survived on dried rations. By dusk, there was a sudden strong wind and rain started pouring. Xiang Xiaolong and the rest exclaimed that even heaven is helping them as they set off immediately. Wu Guo and Zhou Yang each led an army to attack the Zhao camp outside the city. Jing Jun led 1,000 Wei family fighters, crossed the moat and climbed over the walls into the city. Xiang Xiaolong and Teng Yi's main force of 20,000 men went towards the hiding point nearest to the city to get ready for the city gates to open so that they can charge in. The rain was getting heavier with the occasional thunder and lightning. Visibility was low and the thunders also covered the sounds of the horses' hooves totally. Jing Jun's 1,000-strong elite troops tied up their war horses outside the city and took more than 2 hours to cross the moat and begin climbing up the walls. Xiang Xiaolong and Teng Yi were waiting with palpitating hearts because if the enemy were to discover them now, no one in Jing Jun's team will survive. The lanterns on top of the city walls were dimmed by the heavy rain. Just as they were nervously waiting, the city gates facing the west opened and the drawbridge was lowered. Xiang and Teng were ecstatic as they gave the order and the whole army swarmed out. The thundering hooves of 20,000 war horses shattered the sweet dreams of the city guards in Zhongmu, but everything is too late by now. Wu Guo and Zhou Yang's armies launched a simultaneous attack on the 2 Zhao army camps outside the city. Battle cries and screams shook the earth inside and outside the city. Although the thunderstorm has stopped, the battle has become even fiercer. The army charged into the city, scaring the people into shutting their doors tight and half of the city guards removing their armors and abandoning their posts as they hid in residential houses to preserve their lives. The rest opened up the city gates and ran for their lives. They've totally lost their will to retaliate. By dawn, this most important and strategic city for the kingdom of Zhao in the north has fallen into Xiang Xiaolong's hands. For the next 10 days, Zhao Dai, leading more than 10,000 foot soldiers, gradually arrived, bringing with them a large number of siege machinery, supplies, and food. They also established the supply route from Suanxi city to here. Xiang Xiaolong gave strict orders not to harass the civilians and to treat the surrendered soldiers with courtesy, using the approach of assuring the civilians. Teng Yi set up base camps outside the city, started on building up defenses and cut off the official roads that connect between Zhao and Wei, making it look as if they are preparing for a massive attack on the Zhao capital, Handan. A month later, the Zhaos came twice to attack but were fought off on both attempts. The Weiss were on the alert. Their forces were on strict patrol along the border, but as the Qin army has control of a sturdy city, the Weiss only kept a close monitor. No one dares to harbor any disparaging thoughts towards this famous Qin general, Xiang Xiaolong. On this day, Wu Ji came from Changzhou city to see Xiang Xiaolong and brought with him important news. According to the reports from their spies in Handan, Guo Kai is indeed petrified and trying to persuade the Zhao king and dowager to summon Li Mu back to protect the palace in the capital. But after the king of Zhao gave the orders, Li Mu actually rejected them. Xiang and Teng were secretly in awe, knowing that Li Mu has seen through their ploy. After some discussion, the two of them decided to launch a massive attack at Fanmu. Once all arrangements were made, Xiang Xiaolong activated the 80,000-strong army 10 days later and traveled up to Fanmu via the official roads. They set up camp and formations outside the city walls of the Zhaos and launched attacks on the city walls day and night. The Zhaos came out of the city to attack the camp a few times, but each time the Qin army was able to find out about the attacks first and defeat them utterly. After attacking for 18 days, they finally broke down a section of the city wall, but they were fought off by the enemy. Both sides suffered heavy casualties. But Xiang Xiaolong and the rest know that their mission is accomplished. For this time they need not worry that the king of Zhao won't summon Li Mu back to guard Fanmu. The truth is, with their current numbers, they do not have the capability to attack Handan at all. The Zhaos only took 1 day to repair the wall. Xiang Xiaolong retreated his soldiers and did not attack so as to let their warriors have a chance to catch their breath. The dead were cremated on the spot while the injured soldiers were sent back to Zhongmu. By this time, Xiang Xiaolong is already numb to all the deaths on the battlefield, otherwise he'll never be able to become the grand commander of this Qin army. Xiao Pan is right. There is no place for compassion on the battlefield. Everyone is just a pawn on the chessboard. It's common to eat others or be eaten. But the things that are within his control, he has already done them. For example, caring for his subordinates, treating surrendered troops and civilians kindly, etc. He wonders if the Zhaos are petrified of all the fights and they've stopped coming out of the city to retaliate, and the two armies fell into a stalemate. Huan Qi followed Xiang Xiaolong's instructions and put on a huge act about sending in reinforcements constantly to increase the Zhao people's sense of fear. As they entered the second month of summer, Li Mu finally succumbed to the king of Zhao's orders and returned to Handan. Xiang Xiaolong immediately gave orders to fortify their defenses and get ready to deal with Li Mu's retaliation. The thing that he had most wanted to avoid is finally right in front of his eyes. On this day, Xiang Xiaolong, Teng Yi, and Jing Jun were doing the routine patrolling along the 5 miles long stockade when Jing Jun said with a smile, "Even if Li Mu has 3 heads and 6 arms, he'll find it difficult to take down our camp. At the most, it'll be a draw." Teng Yi asked, "Are there any movement on the wayside?" Jing Jun replied, "Wu Guo is taking care of the Weiss, but if we have not taken down Zhongmu, we would have been fought off long ago." That night, Xiang Xiaolong had a nightmare. He dreamt that Li Mu came to attack the camp, and everywhere within the camp is filled with his famous cavalry and all the tents were burning at the same time. Xiang Xiaolong rushed out of the tent and wanted to call out for Teng Yi and Jing Jun, but no sound came out. He wanted to pull out his blade, but his 100 battles blade was missing and he woke up in shock. Only to realize that the sky is still dark, but he was drenched in cold sweat and panting hard. Xiang Xiaolong had an intense thought of his beloved wives, maids, and child at home and had the urge to cast everything aside and return to Xianyang immediately. Once his nerves were settled, he wrapped a cloak around him and walked out the tent. The personal guards who were on night duty hurriedly followed after him. His commander's tent is situated at a higher ground. As he looked around, he saw that beneath the stars, there were tiny dots of firelight that seems to stretch endlessly towards the horizon. The city that belonged to the Zhaos 5 miles away was fully lighted and looked utterly impressive. Xiang Xiaolong thought of the time when he left Handan to go to Daliang. He'd actually passed by this place and was shown around the city walls. He's forgotten the name of the city guard in charge of showing him around, but he did not expect that on this day so many years later, he'll be the one in charge of attacking the same city walls. The uncertainty of life cannot be summed up more accurately than this. He then thought about his 2 beloved that he had once escorted, Zhao Qian and Zhao Yi, who has since died one after the other, and can't help but feel his heart breaking. He almost felt like crying out loud to ease the pain in his heart. The night breeze blew at him, blowing away the tightness in his chest, and only then did he feel slightly better. Looking at the city walls far ahead, he remembered the ancient city of Handan just a distance away from behind those walls, and a mixture of feelings welled up in him. The scariest thing about wars is the unpredictable factor. Just like now, he has absolutely no idea what is happening right now behind those walls that spans hundreds of miles. He can only guess. Or do an evaluation. To know oneself and know one's enemy, it's indeed not so easily achieved. Where exactly is Li Mu right now? They were once bosom buddies, but now they finally have to become mortal enemies on the battlefield, and what exactly are they doing all these for? Only when the day started getting bright that Xiang Xiaolong composed himself and went back to the tent to rest. That's how the days were spent. A month later, the messenger came with the news that Pu Hu has finally abandoned Tunliu and was ambushed and captured by Huan Qi hidden troops when he was escaping towards the Zhao borders and escorted back to Xianyang. Strangely, there has been no activity from Li Mu up to this point in time. Xiang and Tang were not too alarmed, for if Li Mu has been ordered to protect Han Dan, naturally he won't be coming to Fan Mu. Since their goal has been accomplished, the two of them had a discussion and decided to retract their troops, and they will do it that very night. As usual, they left behind empty camps but with lanterns burning. As soon as it got dark, they retreated back to Zhongmu in batches. Xiang Xiaolong and Zhou Yang were the last to leave because with Eagle King's sharp eyes, they're not afraid that the enemy will come up behind them. Jing Jun left first with 2,000 Wu family warriors, followed by Teng Yi's army. Xiang Xiaolong waited until about 10 p.m. before he led the remaining 20,000 men and snuck away. In a short while, the whole army has arrived on the official roads towards south, rapidly moving towards Zhongmu. The bright moon is hanging in the sky to the left of them, casting a dim shadow on their right. Xiang Xiaolong rode alongside Zhou Yang in the middle of the army. Zhou Yang commented with a sigh, "We were able to take down Tunliu this time all thanks to the wondrous plan of great general. Even Li Mu has been fallen for your plan." Xiang Xiaolong replied, "Li Mu did not fall for my plan, it's the king of Zhao who fell for my plan." Zhou Yang said with a smile, "In war, only success or failure matters, no one cares how the victory is achieved but everyone will talk about how one is defeated." Xiang Xiaolong nodded his head, "Your words sound very correct." Zhou Yang looked up into the sky and said, "It'll be dawn in another hour and by then we'll be able to travel at full speed. Once we reach Zhongmu, we'll be able to advance or retreat at will without any worries at all. Besides, even if our enemies surround the city, we still have Huan Qi army as reinforcements." Xiang Xiaolong immediately felt relaxed, feeling a little as if he has achieved the goals of this mission. Hopefully this will be the last battle and the only thing to look forward to in future will be the arrival of Xiao Pan's coronation ceremony. The familiar sound of Eagle King flapping his wings was heard from the sky. All the soldiers lifted their heads to look. Looking at its behavior, they know that there's no pursuing army. Zhou Yang pursed his lips and whistled, ordering him to come down to rest. However, Eagle King suddenly cried out and circled twice over their heads before soaring into the sky again, suddenly flying towards the woods on their right. Zhou Yang's expression changed immediately as he focused on Eagle King's actions. Xiang Xiaolong felt that something is greatly amiss and looked over as well. Eagle King kept flying in circles under the bright moonlight, its flight pattern strange and indecipherable. Zhou Yang exclaimed in alarm, "That is impossible. It seems that there's a huge troop of our enemy rushing here from the left at a very fast speed." In an instant, Xiang Xiaolong understood what is happening. Li Mu's cavalry is coming. Maybe their horses have their hooves covered in cloth so there wasn't any sound at all. This famous general who indeed lives up to his reputation has already deduced Xiang Xiaolong's strategy long ago. Although he was forced to give up Tunliu, he is unwilling to let them off. He has been staying put for the last 2 months to make Xiang Xiaolong and the rest mistakenly think that he is stationed at Handan. In fact, he has been here long ago and have set up an ambush, just waiting for the moment of their retreat. Xiang Xiaolong is now following the fatal footsteps of Cheng Qiao and Du Bai. The only advantage he has is that because of Eagle King, he is one step ahead in finding out the enemy's approach. If he were to escape immediately, the result will be not much different from Cheng Qiao's army's defeat. This means to say that before the whole army can arrive at Zhongmu, they would have been eliminated by Li Mu. If he faces the battle head-on, then at least Jing Jun and Teng Yi can reach Zhongmu safely. Xiang Xiaolong hesitated no further and gave orders for the army to retreat to the dense forest towards the right and do their best to block the enemy. Before they could even complete their formation, tens of thousands of Zhao soldiers charged out towards the official path from the left of the dense forest, charging towards them. Arrows flew towards their enemies like locusts. The enemy's cavalry fell down row by row, but before they could notch the second arrow, suddenly the enemy is right in front of them. Xiang Xiaolong roared his orders as he pulled out 100 battle's blade and led his men in the charge. In a short moment, the whole 10 miles stretch of the official path is filled with battle cries and screams. Just as the 20,000 Qin soldiers were fending off the enemy, there was a sudden chaos near the Zhao border. Another group of enemies seemed to charge out of nowhere and cut off Xiang Xiaolong's reinforcements into two parts. Xiang Xiaolong, with Zhou Yang and 2,000 personal guards, fought off the enemy's wave after wave of attacks with their lives. Crackling sounds were suddenly heard from the woods behind them as the fire burned, cutting off the Qin army's retreat route to the west. Xiang Xiaolong knows that it's unavoidable, so he put aside everything else and cut down 10 odd enemy soldiers and killed his way right into the depths of the enemy's formation.